Okay, so I've gone and I've taken that screenshot of my Pepakura template. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually go back into Rhino, because what's going to be important is that we redraw this template out and have it exported as an SVG. So you might not know what that means, but that's okay. Let's get started. So in Rhino here, I've just created a new layer called template. Okay, remember to manage your layers accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and hide that make 2D layer. Now with the template layer active, I'm just going to type in the picture command and I'm going to import that image. Okay, and this is the same thing that we've done with the silhouettes. I'm going to bring that in. Now remember we talked about making sure that we screenshotted the whole page, okay? And that's because we really want to scale this page or the whole template up accordingly so that it's the same scale, right? Because otherwise we would have no idea. So if we use this whole page here, I can run that scale command and make this 12 inches, okay? Now, let's just bring that sort of back down to where we've been working. So if we have our template set correctly, we should theoretically be able to come over here and maybe if we go into perspective mode, we could start to figure out how this comes together, okay? Now it's looking a little small. So this could be problematic, right? This if we go back to our Pepakura here, it's showing us that this broad face is 1.49 inches. I just want to double check that. I want to make sure that this is in fact to the same scale, because sometimes what can happen is if your geometry is a little complicated, we have to verify. And it says it's 1.5 inches. That's because it's within my fractional tolerance. Okay, so it actually looks like it's correct. And I think, is this must be the face here. Aha, yes, okay. So sometimes it takes just a little bit of analysis. And you can see that there's a little bit of a discrepancy here, right? This is just a screenshot. So we want to make sure that we're sort of grabbing the outside edge in this case. Note that from our previous investigations, they've used a dashed line to determine what is folded here, okay? But this is sort of the beginning. Remember that Pepakura is not going to give you the final output, and it's important to be cautious of that. So if I go into my template layer, I'm just going to create a new sublayer, and I'm going to call this the lines and make that active. And now using the polyline, I am going to draw these out, okay? Now, again, so what's happened here is that we're really not getting the, I'm just going to X out of that. We're not getting those tabs. And that could become a bit of a problem, right? So like I say, the Pepakura template is just a guide. Now, we could draw this out, and I might do, or option B would actually be to, if I duplicate this, remember we can duplicate it by alt dragging when we get that little plus sign there. And I'm just going to preserve this copy over here. I'm going to put that over there. And this version, I'm actually going to hit the explode command. Okay. And I'm going to try this out. This is a bit of an experimental process here, but I'm going to try to see if I can match up all the different sort of faces on this. And I'm sort of wondering kind of what happened. I might need to rebuild this here because I just don't believe that this is to the same scale, actually. But I could, using this as a sort of a visual template, I'm going to flatten this out and arrange it so that I can get all these pieces. And one of the commands we can actually do to quickly flatten it out is the unroll surface command. And if I just select the original poly surface, the closed solid poly surface, you can see it's going to give me a kit of parts over here. And I can actually start to use this and maybe start laying it out. So it looks like it's maybe a little, I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to go back and sort of re-verify, but it looks like this is about half the size. And if I just quickly go to my settings here, I just want to double check that the width is 12 inches, the height is 24. It does seem a little small, but that's okay. We're just going to use this as a visual sort of tool right now. So it says we want that one piece over there. I might just move this off to the side just so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. And so if we just compare, actually here, I'm going to bring this up over here and I'm going to try to rebuild this like that. And so we've got, we bring this one up over here. This will be the next thing. And let's see. Okay, so it looks like we can do that. We're going to move this one over. I'm sort of using the gumball and move command in the same go here. Now I'm going to use the rotate command just so I can sort of get those pieces like so. Okay, oh, that's not right. I got carried away here. This has to come up over here. And then looks like this piece here comes over here. So like I say, it takes a little bit of sort of thinking. No, that doesn't look like the right piece. So I'm just going to move that off to the side for now. And it looks like it might be this one. Let's try this one. No, that's too small. Really trying to find this missing piece in here. And oh, it is the right one. I just wasn't looking properly. Okay, so now I can move this here. And it looks like this actually needs to get rotated. I think that's what was sort of getting me confused. And I'll put that, snap the midpoints, move this piece up. Okay, and I think that this is probably your best bet in reconstructing this template. And then we could actually go back in and add those tabs, you know, depending on how much tab you really want. But there we go. Now we've almost got that. We need to find this little piece here, which let's just run the distance command to find that out. So this is 1 1/2 inches, 1 11/16, 1 5/8. Maybe it's this piece over here. I'm getting confused now. Okay, here we go. If I rotate it, use the move command. Yeah, it looks like no, that's not quite it. So I'm just going to set those pieces off to the side. So trying to find, so really this is the back piece. This is that back panel here. And I'm trying to figure out what I did with that piece. And if I move this out of the way, no, it doesn't look like I got rid of it. So this is that. I'm really trying to mentally unroll this piece here. So we've got this and this one to this one, and that one to that one. And I get it. Okay, so I had it backwards. I figured it out. So this actually comes over like this. So I'm going to have to go back in and just double check that those units of measurement are correct. But what happened is here, this should theoretically oh, and I'm going to move that over to this side. Okay. Okay, so there we go. And I think I remember now what happened was when I made this template, remember in the last video, I had sort of used the gumball to sort of scale it up and stretched it out. And I just forgot to update it. So that's what happened. But there we go. So I've used this template as just sort of a baseline in how to put it together. Now I would go back in and I would start to match up all these little pieces here, right? And I would do the very same thing. Now, if I start doing this, yeah, that doesn't look quite right yet. But I would figure out sort of where all these pieces go. Now, don't forget that we haven't added the tabs, and this is probably where I would start to draw my line. So I could use the polyline tool to do all this. Okay, and I'm just going to start with the silhouette for now. Okay. Okay, so now I have this. Let's create a new layer. Let's call this fold lines, just for our reference. And let's set that line to line type as continuous. Let's just go dot for now. Okay, and I'm just going to create a series of lines from here to here. Okay, so now if I cell my curves here, cell curves, I'm going to deselect all these other ones. Okay, so now you can actually see those fold lines there. Now the next step, of course, would be to add tabs, right? And this is going to take a little bit of sort of figuring out on your end. And, you know, I might go, maybe I'll run the offset command here. Select offset, we give it a distance of 0.5 inches. And if I just run the offset command, it's going to actually give me maybe a guide so that I can figure out how to, you know, sort of create my tabs here. And then we could use these curves to split this line. So if I run the split command here, okay, and then these will be the cutting objects. And there we go. So once I kind of have all those tab parameters, you can see that now I can actually get get that tab sort of figured out. Okay, and I'm going to change those back to just the regular line layer there. Okay, and then this would actually become the fold line here, right? Because we're going to cut out this line. All right, so that's the next step. The next step would be to sort of figure out all your tabs. Okay, and I'm just going to get that back because eventually I'll sort of plug away at it and recreate it. But then it's the line work that we're actually going to export so that we can get it into the Cricut program and tell the Cricut sort of what we want cut out. Okay.